love that, especially because, I mean, given not only the year that we have, but I feel like as we continue to grow as a society, as people, brands are thinking more about, and dare I say it, authenticity and, having a story behind just the product that they're putting out there. How do you guys approach, the marketing strategies that you have in thinking about evangelizing who your brand is in a way that's also, innovative for lack of a better way to say it? How are you guys thinking about marketing moving forward, thinking about, maintaining brand ethos, maintaining a message behind it all, and not just, product promotion for the sake of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because the temptation is like, well, you got to push your product out there. You got to go do this perfect shot with the right lighting and all that stuff, which, by the way, I'm doing a little product placement throughout the pandemic.
Same.
But oh, right on. But it's because I'm doing the promotion, but I need the caffeine right now.
Same.
But sorry, I just got distracted. At the end of the day, I came up with like a little mantra internally, and it speaks to like messaging in general. And it's if you don't feel it, forget it. Because all of us, especially in this digital age of filters and pictures, and all of us have like the badass cameras that can do it all. We're just commenting on aesthetics, or we're thinking that versus, and that's with our eyes. And yes, it translates down through, but like, I want to move people. I want you to feel it. And if you feel something, you don't forget it. And so to me, I know that's like just some philosophical high level thing, but for me to guide your content, and I tell our team that like, listen, I want to simplify it for you. I can't play whack-a-mole as a founder who thinks he knows how to connect with people more and then come and look at every single post and be like, well, doesn't look authentic or whatever. And so at some point you start to realize it's like, what are the principles you stand by? What are the philosophy? What are you trying to accomplish? And for us, it's to move people. It's to genuinely connect with them. But you've got to buy into that. You have to say what moves them. And then you stay focused and you stay the course. To me, purchasing this is the byproduct of understanding and really connecting with the consumer in a meaningful way.
I love that. And it's like, I mean, it's a testament to you because you've also been, at the forefront of it, not just behind the scenes in a lot of the work that you guys have done. I mean, you can scan your social pages and see you out there. What is the creative process like? Have you always been, wanting to be, really involved and have your teams involved and the people that, are very representative of it? What's that creative process like for you guys?
Well, it depends who you ask. I like to think that my team wants me to be involved sometimes, and then I'm like, oh wait, do y'all want me here? And they're like, nah, you're good, dude. You came up with the idea. Now get away. Okay. There's a delicate balance between like delegation and trust, and then also understanding what part you play in an organization. And for me as a founder and as we're growing and maturing, I've had to find my place in that. But that's why I speak to kind of these higher level philosophies. And so I know I'm not speaking specifically to your answer in terms of what am I involved in on the process. That's because I need to have my little hands away from it for a second. Mm-hmm. And just, hey, can we align here with the people you work with without any confusion of expectation or alignment on what the goal is? And so for us, again, I kept having these whack-a-mole conversations like, why are we doing that? Or what is this? Did we A/B test that? And blah, 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 and all the stuff we can all Google. I get it. But at the end of the day, the content, I can force feed someone all day. But when I walk away, are they going to eat it themselves? And again, I keep coming back to this, feel it or forget it. It's that authenticity that is undeniable that moves people to do the things that you want them to do. Is it manipulation? Sure, whatever. But, for me, it's sort of in line with this idea of like, I'd rather, I don't know, I'm kind of rambling on now, but the idea of just the true connection, and so to me, true connection is one, and something that someone feels, especially in consumer products. If you feel compelled to move, it's someone that turns from advocacy to action, from feeling to actual purchase or whatever that is. But again, the North Star is the connection with the consumer and what they value, not what I think they value.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, you're not rambling. First of all, there's a lot of good nuggets in here that I know a lot of people are picking up on, whether you're new to this space or, have been around for a while. So I appreciate everything that you're giving off here. I do want to talk. You mentioned briefly about testing and thinking about, whether it's A/B testing in a scientific, super scientific way, or whether you're just trying new things. You launched in Whole Foods last year, right? What was I mean, I ultimate goal for lots of brands for one. So congratulations. But tell me about that transition from where you started, maybe going direct to consumers, and now thinking about a larger retail strategy. Tell us about that evolution.
Sure. I mean, we were really grateful for first and foremost for our Texas retailers. I just want to be careful to honor people as we go through this process, honoring people that bring you to each stage of the dance, and so I want to say like HEB and folks, like, much love, I have to honor them. That said, they're not a national brand and national footprint. Whole Foods, we all know, is a flagship, and a beachhead of sorts across the country that epitomizes organic foods, health, progressive innovation, kind of this holistic approach of the food ecosystem and consumers, I guess, for lack of a more intelligent way of saying it. But they really gave us an opportunity to establish those beachheads in the markets, and then to build around them and to drive consumers so that we could spread awareness to the cause. And so, it was really important to be able to have a single retailer across the country that, messaging could begin to be consistent. And then you could also understand how different regions were receiving your product, what messaging worked or didn't based on regional preferences or the demographics of a particular region. And so, there's so much to speak to about that, but it was massive for us. It was massive.
And you touched on it even a little bit. My follow-up question is, what do those strategies look like in comparison to, other ways that you're looking to talk about the brand, spread messages, tout new products? What part of your marketing mix is really dedicated to retailer strategies versus, I don't know, things that you're doing, maybe direct mail, email?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So I mean, digital, everybody's going digital. That's the irony. It's like digital's easier. You can get to people, but it's like, well, you have more fishing poles in the pond too now. Everybody has pushed. So you have less fish, relatively speaking. It's interesting. But for digital, it's no surprise that you're able to control the environment more so. You're able to put these, the scientific method to work, basically. And you're really able to hone in on consumer insights more quickly than you would in the more real world if you were a retail environment. At the same time, it's just a yin to the yang. You have your digital and then your brick and mortar, and you use them for different reasons at different times. Would I spend more trade spend and spend a lot more in the last 12 months to be able to get can in hand to someone? Absolutely, because they're at home. And people are like, well, you're not making money on Amazon and blah, blah. And I'm like, well, is that even possible? No, I'm kidding. Sorry, Amazon. Sorry. Whoa. No, but it's marketing then in that sense. It's like, so I shifted my mentality of like, look, what do we know and what do we not know? What we do know is that times are uncertain. What we do know is that people are online and they're sitting at home. And so my objective was with digital over the last year was to get the message and to get a can in their hand. And so that when things lift in society and brick and mortar starts to normalize, that we've engaged them. And like, that's not some rocket science, epiphany, but in terms of retail and then getting to see how that plays, that yin and yang, we're activating them with the hope that they come into the store and they purchase it. To me, again, over the last year, what was really important to our company was to engage with the retailers and to the distributors and let them know that we're here and we're here to stay. And we are not a flash in the pan. We are going to build this with you guys, and we're going to work with the opportunities and the visibility we have today to get the data and the success that we need to be able to extrapolate and scale. And so to me, it's been, what do you know, not what you do not. But when it comes to the consumer insights, to go full circle, you know, it's how are they behaving in retail and Whole Foods, and having a single retailer to be able to control the data and have that visibility to see how that messaging is resonating, to see if they came in because they were, you know, grabbing, they saw it digitally or whatever it was, and trying to reconcile how these things work together. So I spoke a little bit more about how we looked at digital over the last 12 months and retail environment, which again, it was about what do you know, not what you do not. And then you work with that. And so that's kind of, again, I know it's rocket science, but there's so much speculation and fear, or it's not rocket science. There's so much speculation and fear and all of the other things that happened over the last years. It's, you have to bob and weave, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. In, I mean, so many learnings in general from a research lens, whether you are actively, you know, doing, you know, studies and things to understand your consumers or your audiences more, or if you're just like straight up listening to what's going on in social, how people are talking about your brand. What have you learned about your consumers, or even just like the beverage consumer as a whole, since you guys launched? What kind of learnings are you guys taking into, you know, this year, thinking about the rest of the decade? Not to get too much into, you know, innovation, because I definitely want to hear your POV on that as well. But what have you learned, and what are you guys you know, taking with you moving forward?
Yeah, again, I have to speak in the for the last year and a half. That's been our reality. Things are going to change forever. You know, I think as companies, before COVID and over the last decade and maybe 20 years, in this idea of conscious capitalism and the growth of that, and really, you know, we say words like authenticity and impact and so forth. I think you can't say those anymore. I think you're going to have to do them. And doing them means it's going to have to be compelling. And compelling means that I believe in the impact a company is telling me. And impact that I believe in my opinion, is something that's relevant to me and that affects my life. And in this day and age, more directly than it did before. And so, you know, I encourage companies out there. This isn't about some optics to say, you know, hey, we do this over here and we do that. There's a benefit of that. That's marketing, and you should leverage it. Absolutely. But the authenticity of that give back is paramount as we move into these next decades. To me, it's reconciliatory for our country too. I mean, I'm just saying, it's like, I'm not somebody that says that I'm going to tell you what you should do with your money, but I believe your heart should. And I think that we're in a place where, you know, we all, and I say we, anyone watching this, we have an influence within our spaces. And I'm telling everyone out there, you can have your clean and drink it too. I promise you. And the irony is that you can have more of it, but you have to buy into that. It's in giving that you receive. Put money where your mouth is and sit there and say, what is impact? Not what do I think is impact? What moves Tiffanie? What does she care about truly? And stop just thinking we know. Go find out. And so what I found out with consumers over the last year was that there were way more struggling even than we ever knew. And then this metaphorical rock bottom for the world that questioned all of our existence and securities outside of someone struggling with recovery. You know, it was beyond that. It just put us in a different space to say, what do we care about? Because I can tell you right now, I don't want as much as I thought I did. I still want a little house in the mountains. Maybe one of my investors is watching. Okay, I still want that. I'm a capitalist, but at the end of the day, I also know that people are dying daily, and this whole idea of living once, you know, it's cliche, but again, we need to revisit those. You only do live once. What is impact? Can you actually make a ton of money and help a ton of people at the same time? All of those things that we thought we understood that we were living or whatever, let's revisit those words. Let's refresh the definition, and maybe we start to live them, or we decide that we're going to change the word to be more accurate with what we're actually doing. And I need everyone to know that I'm looking at a mirror when I'm saying this.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a mirror, and I am held to the same standard. I have not arrived. So
Yeah, I mean, I love that you're saying this. I think that, I mean, it needs to be said more. I don't know that we can ever say it enough, even if we did try to, even if brands have been trying to, all of a sudden get on board since what's happened and, everything that's going on. Be it the millennial in me, I know that when I look at my brands, if I'm going to use a product anyway, why not invest in something that is doing something, or at least saying that they're doing something, and then why not do the work to find out if that's actually true?
I,
So, I mean, that's
I
my
think well, I'm sorry. I've got a
no,
motor.
go for it.
I always have a mouth. But one thing you said a word invest. I think that's fascinating because it's a mentality and a philosophy that I try to instill and encourage within our company to think about what we do as investing in others. When someone buys a can of clean or buys a soap that gives 1% of whatever I mean, and I mean that admirably, like it's noble, it's cool. But when you buy that, I think it's important that you demonstrate to folks that, because we always hear about the butterfly effect or ripples and it just goes on forever, virtuous cycle, but it's like, does it? And can you help me understand that? And I think there's opportunities for us as a brand to be much more clear on that and to be able to really educate better. And we're working on that. But at the end of the day, I was thinking about too much. I start to go a little bit off.
You're all good.
Invest. I was
Yeah.
telling my team yesterday that it's important to think of when someone buys this. So we're all selfish. Let's get it. Let's get honest. And look at you. Cheers.
Cheers.
So we're all selfish. I'm saying it. If you don't think you are, you're extra selfish. But the point is giving you a product that you're already going to buy. The product has to be able to stand on its own merit. And, we sell better caffeine and it's organic and it's lower calorie and it's better. I'm not going to complicate it. Okay. And then, but the flip side is that cause and that impact. And the investing part of it is, and I tell people each time you buy this, yes, you are selfishly scratching that itch for the caffeine that you and I both need. And I get it. Buy 2 or 3 cans. Cool. But it's not a period after you finish the can. That's what's so radical. It's you finished your can, that can's done, period. The can is done, but not the impact and the give back. Because for us, ours is a sober living scholarship, which is a bridge between rehab and reintegration. And the idea is that now we're giving this person that wants a shot a moment of grace, and we're going to invest in them. And we is not me, it's us. And I know that's some happy horse crap a lot of the time. It's like, together we have donated 7 billion. I'm like, but no, it's real, because that's exactly how the value chain is pushing down and the trickle down effect. And so when you buy clean or other brands that are actually delivering on the promise, you are investing in our life. You're investing in yourself because you're selfish, but you're selfish because you're buying better caffeine. Good on you. All right. Hey, whoa. I didn't plan that, by the way. That was not and if you buy now, it's 99. Okay.
I think it was perfect. I mean, I got chills at a certain point because it couldn't be more obvious too. I told you when I first heard about Clean Cause, it was a gym instructor, a trainer out here in LA that had brought a couple products. And mine escapes me what the actual event or interaction was, but so easy to understand, for one. Like, it's clean, caffeine, and then the message is right here on the can. You guys did a brand update with the packaging and everything. Tell us about that process. I'm thinking in my head, it's like a war room brainstorm, throw everything at a wall and see, what makes the biggest impact.
No, I wish we did it like that. That'd be more methodical and like logical.
That's always the way I think about creative. I'm not on the brand side, so I'm trying to learn.
Like, that sounds good. Yeah, let's do that. And it's like, we don't need a focus group with 232 people because that's statistically accurate. Study them, and they'd be like, nah, it just feels right. And sometimes you do make decisions like that. There's things like, the North Star in terms of our resolve on the 50%. No. We've had investors come along and who want to invest a lot of money, and they'll say, change that to 5% and we'll take this to a bill about blah. And I'm like, no way. That is our North Star. Nothing ever changes. So there's certain things that are not negotiable. But when it comes to things where people have insights and have the experience, that as we're maturing, we're bringing them in. And Wes thinks, for the longest time, he's had the brightest ideas everywhere. It's not the truth. These people are very gifted, and they're my coworkers and our friends, and you let them bring in that what their special ingredients are, And so when I look at the messaging on our can and the rebrand, when I launched this, I had this long narrative on the back. like extra long. And I was like, no, that's why people are gonna read it. Because they're like, why would anybody put something so damn long on there? And I'm like, do you see what I'm doing here? And people are like, nah, it's just damn long. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then we switched it up. To me, brands, look, we don't have time. Like people try to design a logo and they want to put everything in the logo. The logo's a stop sign. That's it. It's a Nike swoosh. It represents everything that I'm going to do with you, either digitally or on POS or billboards or in retail, that invoke the emotions you buy into my impact and buy it again. But at the end of the day, it's just a stinking stop sign. This is what we do. We get 50%. This is what we are, and this is what it does for you, you selfish little Wes. Hey, we're winning. I'll drink to that.
It's straightforward. I will too.
Right. And I love that you're drinking the lemon lime. It's kind of a joke that like I call it lemon lame because people give me so much. No. People give me so much crap. They're like, that's the worst selling flavor. And I'm like, dude, it's the best, man.
Is it really from a research standpoint? Is it really the worst selling?
No, it's my favorite. Say worst, least selling. The good news is all of our products are within really close to one another, but it's still at the end of the line. And I'm like, well, I'm going to drive the VPOs with my personal consumption then, because we're not discontinuing the lemon lime. It's like Sprite and lemonade had a baby. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry, it's good.
Yeah, no, it's perfect for like the morning for me because it's not like straight up too fruity or too any. It's light. It gets you in there, eases me in. I'm into it.
and even like the caffeine, just not having, the caffeine's the same, I think, but like coffee versus this, I still like coffee every once in a while, but this one just gave me, and yes, I'm biased. It's our product. So maybe you should throw out everything I just said.
No, I like it. I want to know more about, because there's so many things that I know that you envision for your brand, and maybe they fit in a bunch of different buckets. As a whole, what does success look like for you and your teams? And that could be short-term success, that could be long-term. I could throw out words like ROI and all of that, but I do want to hear more about, mind of a founder, mind of a CEO for a brand like this. What does success look like for you?
It's changed over the years, but again, you talk about like, what do I want? What do I need? What is success for me? Do I need $1 million? Do I need 500? But you do a personal assessment on your financial selfish needs, and then you go, okay, what are my aspirations and why? And then, but bigger than that, it's like, I look at, success to me looks like fulfilling the mission, and for this brand being one that stands the test of time. If Coke came tomorrow and said, hey, we want to buy you because we recognize this as being not only a national, but a global issue that will never go away. That's the good news, bad news about our brand in terms of the supply and demand and so forth. It's only going to get worse for a while. But one thing I'm committed to is that mission and, not selling out, so to speak. We have an opportunity to be a proof of concept to show that you can do both, and we have to hold to that. And so my commitment and what the success looks like is not compromising that, maintaining that. So when I'm dead and gone, my kids, they don't have to, I took 35 biking and I smoked crack and blah, blah, blah. I don't care about that. I care about coming back. That's what I care about. And that's what I care about in people when they relapse. Don't give a shit about the relapse. Bounce back. Let's go. And so when I look at clean, my kids, and those are the most important to me in my life, is just looking at them and having a legacy that their dad bounced back, and a little piece for them to go on with, and say he didn't waver. He held. He wasn't perfect. He was about 50% perfect. Try to stay consistent, but at the end of the day, I want to honor them and everyone who brought me to the dance. And that's what success looks like. And like I said, it's changed over the last year, where I said, you know what? I don't give a shit about the money. I don't. Because it's just like, I'm good today. And, maybe it's because I have it. But again, sorry, I'm going off on it a little bit because I've been thinking about it lately. But at the end of the day, that's what success, and from a business standpoint, it looks like a sustainable business model. It's just that it's self-sustainable. And that's what it looks like there. But more importantly was what we started the whole conversation with, which was the mission. It needs to prevail, and it needs to prevail beyond me. And, you know, and then one of my lead investors told me once, and it was pretty compelling because I like to whine, and he's really simple and simply brilliant. I'll say, blah, 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 and he'll go like, what's the root cause? And I'll be like, you know, things like that. But he said one time, he goes, Wes, I said, blah, blah, blah. And I thought he was going to say, you deserve it, Wes. And he says, the cause deserves it. And I said, wow, okay. That shifts the narrative even in my selfish little aspirational mind of wanting to conquer the CPG world because he bounced back from his drug addiction. Awesome. But my investor was right. This cause freaking deserves it because it touches society more than anything else. So you know what? I am going to do a call to action. If you're out there and you have influence or you know people that can help us move mountains and move this quicker for the benefit of our society, and I mean that, and if you want to call me on that and say, hey, I know somebody who needs help, we'll move. But we are the stinking real deal, and we want to keep going because there was never a time in American history, well, there are, that we need to get going again and rock and roll. And so, wow, that was not eloquent with the rock and roll finish, but there it is.
I think so. I think it was. What? You're doubting yourself. I love it.
Well,
I think
yeah. Look, I'm an egomaniac with low self-esteem. And so that's just how it goes.
You gotta call out. There's someone saying, love the focus on your connection. Consumers want to feel like they're speaking to you on a personal level. Great job. Love that.
That was me though. No, I'm sorry.
No, it was Jenna. Awesome. I mean, questions are flying in. I want to touch on them, and then I do have selfishly some on my own, just kind of a little bit just curious to know. But I will touch on one to start. Someone's asking, what trends in consumer behavior are of particular importance to you and perhaps other marketers now? So trends in consumer behaviors, what's of particular importance to you right now?
I mean, function. When it comes to the actual product itself. And then, you know, in the same way that we speak of impact, authenticity, and folks understanding and really believing in that impact, the function needs to deliver. You know, it really needs to perform. And so if you're going to say it, let's do it. Or try to figure out so we can, you know, connect with the actual performance of the product. So I'm seeing function is the way I would, you know, answer it.
Yeah, that's great. Another one is, how do you get inspiration that enables you to foster growth personally and professionally? How are you getting inspired? Ooh, this is for me too. I'm curious.
So how do I get inspiration to keep driving or innovate and growth and so forth?
On like a personal level, on a professional level, everything.
From the people around me, I and my kids. You know, whenever I get beat down or anything like that, I remember my kids first and foremost. But then, again, I have this deep sense of gratitude to the people that brought me to the dance. You'll hear me say that a lot. It's just like, I'm just a dude with an idea, you know, and people to get behind us and to really fuel that. But it's the people you surround yourself with. You know, A people hire A people, B people hire C people. The same is true with the idea of who you surround yourself in philosophically. It's like, are they aligned with you? Do they aspire to the same thing? Do they challenge you? Are you willing to accept that challenge from them? You know, I've had to work a lot on my ego over the years and saying, dang it, you know, it's saying it's constantly, it's just a maturation process as you're growing, bringing in more people that have had the experience that you haven't had, and then listening, and then aggregating them all without compromising the foundation, which is those certain things you don't negotiate on, period. And so I get inspired by the people around me for innovation and growth, and then to what the consumers are saying. There's no better way to know what to sell your consumer than to ask them. And people say that, they're like, don't ask your consumer, make it and tell them. I get that too. but at the very least, you're engaging them like genuinely. You're making them a stakeholder and a part of it. So, hey, if I ask somebody, what do you guys want us to do to kick some more ass on addiction? What will you drink? What's functional that you like? And then we start getting sparkling prebiotics or blah, 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 blah. And it's like this. How many, when people keep saying that, you're like, whoa, that keeps coming up. So I'm listening to my heart. I'm listening to my boys. I'm listening to our investors. I'm listening to our team. And I'm listening to consumers. You figure out on a pie chart what you value most and want to have weighted the most. And there it is. But it's not a single person, you know, it's aggregate of people that brought you to the dance. And that at least that's how philosophically I would want it to be.
Yeah. I think was it Will Smith that said it several years ago? Like, you'll tell a lot about how far you go by the 10 people closest to you, or something like that. I'm misquoting it.
No, but I mean the essence is there. It's true, you know. The other thing I would say is I missed a big one here. It's the people that we're supporting. You know, they inspire me. You know, when I get a message from someone, you know, it's just unbelievable how quickly people can turn their lives around too if we show grace. And that's one of our values as a corporation is grace. And so I guess what I'm saying is that the people that are impacted, that are receiving this, inspire us because their stories and the ripple effect we know are real. And we see it, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter how whiny I am or how hurt my feelings are because this guy said that, or because I'm trying to be authentic as much as I can, as often as possible, but I can't do that possibly perfect ever. And so but like that, seeing the impact alive trumps all of that and goes above. I shouldn't be using the word trumps, but like just goes ahead, goes atop of everything. That's what I mean, guys. But that's it. And so if my perspective, and if I always come back to that, or I'm able to come back and to me, it's important for a founder to go back into the manufacturing line, to go down, pick up the soil, to remember what it smells like, and to say, look, dude, no. You're just blessed to have more people helping you go to the next stage. And you got to constantly remember that. It's our lives and our relationships. So
I love that. Another question is, how do you feel you as a consumer are engaging with brands differently this year, if you are?
How am I engaging differently with, because I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't really have an answer for that, because I think being in the industry, you're just constantly looking at everything. So engaging for me is more like I'm behind it than I am on top of it. And I'm a consumer of my own product. So that's kind of like, I'm engaging with myself. I'm like, these are so good. So, I mean, I'm sure I am. I just more digital, I guess, and stuff. But really, I'm always want to understand why of anything. So I don't have a great answer for that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's a very honest and still good answer. Let's see. Where do you see Clean in 5 years? Beyond beverages? Beyond caffeine?
Do you want my over caffeinated answer or my real? Where am I, manic or not? No. Look, I aspire for us to build a multi-billion-dollar brand, and we're going to, because we have a cause and a product, a name, or I have this funny thing that goes back 5 years, and someone's gonna get mad at me probably for doing this, but I went and I met with these investors and put up this big presentation, and I just tried. It was a horrible presentation because I couldn't raise $1. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, don't you guys see it? And they're like, see what? You don't have anything on paper. And I'm like, I know, it's big. They're like, but the idea is just that they I don't know. I keep trailing off because there's so much to talk about, and these memories that are going through my brain of things. So I apologize.
You're good.
What was
biggest surprise, biggest learning?
Biggest surprise, biggest learning
in the last year?
Look at me. I'm getting a little red because I'm not even. It's like when I was in junior high. I'm getting red because I'm embarrassed.
You're doing great.
Let's go to the next question, and I'll circle back. I don't.
Okay. Someone wants to know if you like why. Oh,
Sorry. See, this is what happens. So we were talking to the investors and you were talking about where we're going to go in 5 years. And Wes, do you see something beyond this or that? Yes.
okay.
Yes. I see clean diapers one day. People are like, what? Why would you say that? And I go, because it speaks to the scope of what we can do. When you marry quality products that can stand on their own merit and outperform the competitor, and then layer on a cause that's impact you believe in, boom. That's all I can say is boom. So, the coolest thing about our diapers is that they're actually self-cleaning. I'm kidding. Sorry.
That would be insane.
Every time I do that joke, which I've done for like years, people just thought, like investors are like, they're like, we want to invest in that. It's not real, guys, but it's aspirational. Anyway, we want to help lots of folks. We'll create lots of different brand categories and so forth, but or play in different categories. But the name of the game is focus today. We recognize and see the potential of the line that we have, and it's our mentality that less is more. Focus, and we'll be jumping out of planes with like Red Bull people, from outer space in a couple of years.
Love that. To that point that I just briefly mentioned, someone does want to know what the biggest surprises or biggest learning is that you had in the last year.
That people's perception is their reality. Unfortunately, I have like an arrogant spin to it. I'm like, your misperception is my reality. Okay. So I don't know why I do that or why I said that. It just is. So what I'm saying is, especially this last year, we had a lot of movement professionally with teams and stuff. But if you think about it, if you go to the root cause of that, which you do that, you beat yourself up when anybody leaves you in relationships or whatever it is, and you're like, what did I do? What could I have done better? And I'm more sizzle than I'm steak. I'm this guy who's just rolling and going, and at times it can be seen as like, whoa. But when I look back at this last year, and the greatest challenge was people leaving and me trying to understand what was going on, even though I think they were for the best decisions that were mutual. I'm like, what happened? And trying to identify the variables that contributed to that, what part I could own and improve, and what was just outside of our control. And so what happened this last year, our security was shook beyond belief, all of us. And so when I look at the challenge of that, going and saying, hey, how do you ensure that people feel respected, secure in an unsecure world, to where that, but not overly, to where it becomes an unhealthy dynamic of professional and personal. But I've seen that you have to lean in more today than you ever had on the personal side, which I think also speaks to our cause, and it speaks and revolves around mental health. And there's 100,000 more people died in 2020. It was estimated. They were called deaths of despair, and they were related to alcoholism, drugs, and then just mental health in general. But at the end of the day, I would say that was been the greatest challenge, is trying to understand what makes the other people tick truly, especially when the environmental factors are outside their control. And this was a historic thing, but the principle will stand the test of time, which is me understanding, and this is what they teach in sales and stuff, like, what does Tiffanie need? What am I willing to give Tiffanie on a consistent basis to make her not only professionally safe and ambitious and incentivized, but also secure as a human in an unsecure world? And that balance and that challenge, it took a big toll on me. It was a really painful time over the last year. Beyond the obvious things, it was more of an emotional, painful time, because I take a lot of stuff very personally, and I'm an emotional dude. I mean, I'm like an egg, like it's a little crack, and it's just like I'm open. But so I'd say that was really challenging this year.
That goes into the next question that's asking why sober living scholarships, which you touched on already, and like what is the impact on the economy?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I wanted something that was digestible to the consumer. And again, I said earlier that we still have work to do in terms of educating folks. There's assumptions that we make, and we understand that X, Y, or Z gets what we're doing. That's not the case. And so, but again, I want to say it's just a bridge from rehab to reintegration, or homelessness, or out of, jail, or whatever it was. It was a practical need. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, of shelter. And the design was that it would enable folks to have a safe environment, to establish a recovery routine. And a big principle for us is sustainability, in the sense of find employment. Nothing builds self-esteem like self-sustainability. And so we really encourage that. And there's so many opportunities from a programmatic standpoint as we grow and create more funds down the road to be able to take on other aspects of the continuum of care. But it was a really practical need. Pearl, I see you drinking that. I like that. Look at you guys. Woo. I promise, audience, we didn't do this. Did we do this, guys?
We need a photo.
And then I even do a little placement here. Look at this.
Cherry lime is fire.
Cherry lime. I didn't know people were going to go for that, because I'm like, do they know what Sonic is? Sonic's Texas. And that's like cherry lime deal. But yeah. So the sober living scholarships, at the end of the day, it was a practical need being underserved. You go back to an environment that's caustic, what are your chances?
Yeah.
It's given, and it's really difficult with even 30 days. So there's a lot of work to be done on identifying, and for us, it's going to be collecting data and so forth, and to understand the retention and how this really does affect people's ability to stay in recovery and not. So we can even feature that much more. So we're really leaning onto that, and have hired like data scientists, sociologists, and so forth to help really come in there and say, hey, we're innovating on our model, we're innovating on our product, but it's like, are we going to take it seriously, the money you as a consumer are investing, to do the damn best job we can? Because we're a steward now of that. And now we need to prove and demonstrate that we are innovative and creating the most effective programs with the greatest impact. So then the virtuous cycle can continue. So to me, this is not the 50%, you give it away and you walk off. No, where's that money going, and is it working? Do we have visibility of that? Do we have visibility of the money and the impacts? We can come back to the consumers who are drinking our drinks on this screen and say, hey, you can keep drinking that and it tastes better, because you know that that impact is real. That's what we want. .com.
I feel like we're just getting started. I know Pearl can walk us off the stage, but I mean, there's so much to say. Thank you for everything, Wes. I mean, I'd love to hear more. I want to go have more beverages with you outside and talk about it. We could do some taste tests. You can send a flight. This has been great.
That's a great idea, Tiffanie. And Sarah, I saw you a couple of years ago at Whole Foods headquarters for our first Innovators' first ever for Future Food and Beverage. And I think we were so high that day off of all those drinks that you brought in. And now I see you guys everywhere. So it's great.
Yeah, we're blessed. I mean, beyond belief. And the guys that we've brought on, the men and women who've come onto our team, I don't deserve to have them. And that's not false humility. I'm saying these people are risking, let's face it, it's a risk when you work with someone in recovery. It is, but everyone's a risk. But my point is that I'm so grateful for the support and the trust and the grace that I've been shown by our team and the different people who come along over the years. And you know what? We're still standing. I call this business and CPG specifically survival of the fittest. If you can survive, you can thrive. Keep pushing. Find the right people and go with your gut. When in doubt, throw it out. And we'll finish with this one. If you don't feel it, get it.
There's so many gems. I hope we're getting all these beautiful moments right now.
Totally.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us, you two.
Hey, can we do a virtual cheers?
Of course.
Into the camera. Boom!
Woo! This is sugar-free, but it tastes so much sweeter because I know what you guys are doing.
That's right, and that's the idea. And you know what? I just recorded that, and you are going to be the testimonial on our website. So thank you. That's how we create